Did you ever think that a company known for making video game graphics could be at the center of an international espionage scandal? Well, that's exactly where we find ourselves with Nvidia, the tech giant that's become a key player in the high-stakes world of US-China relations. What was supposed to be another sunny day in Silicon Valley becomes the behind-the-scenes of a new type of war. The US government is investigating Nvidia for potentially giving China access to powerful AI technology that could be used for military purposes. Meanwhile, Chinese officials are pressuring Nvidia to keep the tech pipeline flowing by threatening to cut off Nvidia's access to the world's largest market. How did a company that started by making better graphics for Quake video games end up in the crosshairs of a 21st century Cold War? That's the story we're diving into today. Let's rewind a bit. Nvidia wasn't always the tech powerhouse it is today. Founded in 1993 by three friends over a meal at Denny's, the company started with a simple goal: to make better 3D graphics for video games. But Nvidia's ambitions quickly grew beyond gaming. In the early 2000s, they realized their GPUs, graphics processing units, were perfect for tackling complex mathematical problems. This led to a pivot that would change the company forever, using GPUs for scientific computing and, eventually, artificial intelligence. Fast forward a few years, and Nvidia has become the dominant force in AI chips, powering everything from self-driving cars to the servers that run ChatGPT. As Nvidia's technology became more powerful, it caught the attention of not just gamers and tech enthusiasts, but also governments and intelligence agencies. You see, the same chips that make your video games look amazing are also crucial for training AI models, running complex simulations, and even breaking encryption. This is where China enters the picture. In 2017, the Chinese government unveiled a plan to become the world leader in AI by 2030. So, as the world's second-largest economy and a rising tech superpower, China has been eager to get its hands on the most advanced chip technology, and Nvidia, with its market-leading position, became a prime target. The tech company saw a golden opportunity in this market. It's a business that needs profits, after all. They began selling their most advanced chips to Chinese tech giants like Alibaba, Baidu, and Tencent. For a while, it seemed like a win-win. Nvidia got access to a huge market, and Chinese companies got the hardware they needed to drive innovation. In 2020, China accounted for about 25% of Nvidia's data center revenue. But as AI technology became more advanced, alarm bells started ringing in Washington. US officials grew concerned that China could use Nvidia's chips to develop autonomous weapons, improve surveillance systems, or gain a military advantage. That's something Uncle Sam couldn't allow. So, in October 2022, they announced new export controls that would prevent Nvidia from selling its most advanced AI chips to China. This included the A100 and H100 chips, which were specifically designed for AI and high-performance computing. Nvidia's stock took an immediate hit. The company estimated it could lose up to $400 million in potential sales to China, but the real drama was just beginning. In the months that followed, a cat-and-mouse game unfolded between Nvidia, the US government, and Chinese buyers. Nvidia tried to find ways to keep selling to China while staying within the bounds of US regulations. Reports emerged that the company was working on special versions of its chips designed specifically for the Chinese market, chips that would be just under the performance threshold set by US regulators. In fact, they actually did that. They developed new chips specifically for the Chinese market. These chips, like the A800 and H800, were slightly less powerful versions of Nvidia's top-end models, with the only hope that they would meet US export requirements while still being attractive to Chinese customers. But even as Nvidia worked on these compromises, reports began to surface of a thriving black market for the company's most advanced chips in China. Some analysts estimated that hundreds of thousands of A100 chips had made their way into the country through various back channels. But why all the fuss over some chips? To understand why this matters so much, we need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. AI isn't just about making better chatbots or more realistic video games. It's about power, the power to process vast amounts of data, to make predictions, to automate complex tasks. In the wrong hands, this technology could be used for everything from mass surveillance to developing autonomous weapons. This is why the US government has been so keen to keep its most advanced AI technology out of China's hands. But this is also where the story really heats up. On one side, we have the US government trying to maintain its technological edge and prevent sensitive tech from falling into the wrong hands. On the other, we have Nvidia, caught between its duty to comply with US laws and its desire to keep selling to one of the world's largest markets. And in the middle, a web of allegations, suspicions, and corporate espionage. The US government wasn't pleased with Nvidia's actions. In 2023, the company was under investigation by the US Department of Justice for potential antitrust violations. But buried in those reports was something even more intriguing. Suggestions that the Department of Justice was also looking into whether Nvidia had improperly shared technology with Chinese companies. The details were fuzzy, but the implications were clear. Had Nvidia, in its eagerness to maintain its position in the Chinese market, crossed a line? Had sensitive US technology been compromised? Nvidia, for its part, has consistently denied any wrongdoing. They've maintained that they comply with all US export controls and that their dealings in China are above board. But the allegations persist, fueled by the high-stakes nature of the technology involved and the geopolitical tensions between the US and China. Then, the US tightened restrictions even further, closing loopholes and making it nearly impossible for Nvidia to sell its high-end AI chips to China. And this is where things get really interesting. Because while the US government was clamping down, Nvidia was secretly working on a new plan to keep its Chinese business alive. In March 2024, news broke that Nvidia was developing a brand new chip specifically for the Chinese market. Codenamed the B20, this chip was designed to be powerful enough for advanced AI work while still complying with US export controls. Nvidia was walking a tightrope. They needed to satisfy US regulators while still delivering a product that Chinese companies would want to buy. And all of this was happening against the backdrop of escalating tensions between the US and China. But why was Nvidia willing to go to such lengths to keep selling to China? The answer is simple: money. Despite the restrictions, China remained a massive market for Nvidia. In the fourth quarter of 2023, the company reported $3.7 billion in revenue from China alone. For Nvidia, losing the Chinese market would be a huge blow. Sure, but think bigger. Is Nvidia simply a company trying to do business in a complex global market? Or are they potentially undermining US national security by helping China develop advanced AI capabilities? We can't say anything for sure, but let's take a look at the background, shall we? First, Nvidia argues that they're following all US regulations and that their technology is primarily used for peaceful purposes like scientific research and business applications. They also point out that if they don't sell to China, other companies from countries with less strict export controls will fill the gap. We can say that Nvidia is being naive at best and willfully ignorant at worst. And in China's state-dominated economy, there's no guarantee that technology sold for civilian purposes won't end up being used by the military. You see, back in 2020, it was revealed that Nvidia chips were being used in surveillance systems in Xinjiang, where China has been accused of human rights abuses against the Uyghur population. Nvidia claimed they were unaware of this use and that it violated their terms of service. But the incident highlighted the difficulty of controlling how technology is used once it's sold. Then, in 2022, a Chinese military AI research center published a paper describing how they used Nvidia GPUs to simulate nuclear explosions. Doesn't that set off some alarms for you? And that's not all. In November 2023, during a video call between Nvidia and Valeo, a French automotive technology company, an Nvidia employee accidentally revealed a folder on his screen labeled Valeo Docs. Valeo claims this was evidence that Nvidia had stolen their proprietary technology. And while this incident wasn't directly related to China, it added fuel to the fire of those who argued that Nvidia couldn't be trusted to handle sensitive technology responsibly. Nvidia has denied any wrongdoing in these cases, but the incidents have contributed to a growing sense of unease about the company's global operations. As the controversy around Nvidia grew, so did scrutiny from regulators on both sides of the Pacific. They've got the US breathing down their neck, trying to control their every move. And meanwhile, Chinese regulators are putting pressure on domestic companies to reduce their reliance on Nvidia. They issued guidance encouraging the use of homegrown alternatives like Huawei's Ascend chips. So, Nvidia found itself in an impossible position. They were being squeezed from both sides, with the US trying to restrict their sales to China and China pushing for alternatives to reduce dependence on US technology. Now, to be fair, Nvidia isn't the only player in this game. Other US tech giants like Intel and AMD are also grappling with how to navigate the Chinese market under increasing restrictions. And Chinese companies are racing to develop their own AI chips to reduce reliance on foreign technology. So about that claim that if they don't do it, someone else will, it seems to be true. There's a technological arms race going on here, an arms race relying on the same companies that produce the chips for our phones, computers, or gaming consoles. We never would have imagined it, but now, whoever gains the lead in artificial intelligence could have a significant advantage in everything from economic development to military capabilities. That's our new globalized world. So, where does this leave Nvidia? They're no doubt in a precarious position. Maintaining their business in China while staying on the right side of US regulations, that's no easy work. But in these times, can companies truly remain neutral? Or do these companies need to understand that doing business with China comes with risks, not just to their bottom line, but to our national security? And the most uncomfortable question of all, what are Nvidia's real intentions? Is it just about the money? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to check the thumbnail on your screen for the story of how a company outage caused global chaos. We'll see you there.